Cool. Well, at this point, I'd like to bring up our first presenter, Broomley, and what we're going to do is have them switch over, and we're going to go through a presentation on 6 different deals. We'll do 3, then take a break, and then we'll have them pitch to the investors that are up here, and we'll then have 10-minute pitch and probably a 5-minute Q&A just to keep things on track. So with that, we'll have our first group up called Broomley, and we'll be doing the time.
Appreciate it, Hall. My name is Matt. I'm with Broomley. Broomley is a next-generation home services company. So we want to, and our goal is what we're doing today, is to deliver outstanding service powered by technology. And we really want to take the pain out of managing the home. So just like Uber took the pain and friction out of getting from point A to point B, we want to do that same thing with managing all of your home services. So today, we're live in 4 markets, Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, with 2 services, cleaning service and lawn service. But ultimately, the larger vision is to offer everything that it takes to manage and maintain your home. It's really creating that one-stop shop. And really, we think about RPH, so revenue per household. So, when our customers come in and, they might come in for lawn service, how do we create additional value with all these additional services through our network? And one way that we really, when we think about putting the home on autopilot, one way that we really do that is by creating what we call the smart home profile. And what that really means is just intimately knowing and being familiar with our customer in their household. So a couple examples here to kind of make it concrete. So start out something very, very basic. So cleaning, for example. So we want to know their surface types, their floor types. Are we dispatching the right service professional with the chemicals needed to treat untreated wood floors versus treated wood floors? And even simple things like cleaning preferences. So what do you want us to do with your clutter versus one of our other customers? It's very, very different. And we view that, that's one simple example of how we can use technology and send the right person out with the right data every single time to create a more optimal experience. But even think about something a little more complicated, like HVAC. Your HVAC breaks and it goes down. You can certainly go to, Angie's List or, Google HVAC repair and look for someone with a lot of reviews. But oftentimes, if you're like me and if you actually experienced this, you'll be dispatched somebody that might not have the right parts, might not be trained on your specific type of unit, and so there's a ton of back and forth that is very, very costly, wastes your time, and just is going to drive up the price. So how can we dispatch the right service provider every single time? We need to know your home. We need to create the Carfax for the home, and we're already doing that with our current customers, with cleaning and lawn in a very in a more simple way. So where we are today, a little bit about our traction. Again, we're in 4 markets. Last month we did $177,000 in gross revenues. Our net income was negative $7,000. For a little bit of context, last year in its entirety, we did $900,000 in revenue. This year we're on pace to do around $3.5 million. Furthermore, on our traction, our markets are profitable. So, we again, this has been a big focus. We are unit economic driven. We want to, our goal was with our first market, let's make sure we have that nailed before we move on to our second market, and to get to a step and repeat mode before really, exploding nationally. So at this point, we don't have to raise money, but we feel like there's such a massive opportunity here, where there isn't a one-stop shop. There's so much friction. It's just, everybody knows as a homeowner, it's just such a pain to manage and maintain your home. So how do we fix that? Outside of the consumer, which is the vast majority, over the past couple months, we've had some really great traction on the enterprise side. So we started looking at our customer base and noticing quite a few of our customers had 3, 4, 5, 6 units. And so we spent a little bit of time outreaching. We started partnering with property managers and managers of short-term vacation rentals. So just with literally probably less than 2 months of work, we now maintain over 450 units just here in Austin. You can see some of our partners there, and we are working hard to expand this program in all our other markets, and then as we continue to grow nationally. So just a little bit about our team. We're an operationally driven team with a lot of experience in that area. My co-founder here, Jerry Sun, was the CMO and CIO of BuildASign.com and grew that from $300,000 in revenue to $71 million in revenue. Again, all bootstrapped. Again, we're a very unit economic driven company. I work with Jerry at BuildASign. I grew the consumer division from inception to $30 million. Our CTO wrote all the technology at BuildASign, which, by the way, is didn't mention it before, but a global online custom printing company. All the operational and consumer-facing technology. And our fourth partner, Joe, he spent the last 10 years in the home services industry. Both working for some of the giants like ServiceMaster and consulting for a number of companies there. So he's really our inside industry expert, and as we launch new services. So I don't need to spend much time here. This is a massive industry. Maid service alone is 46 billion, and this is just in the U.S. Our competitors, and again, this is where we get really excited. It is a extremely antiquated space. There's very little technology. There's not a lot of digital marketing. They don't have a CTO to figure out how to reduce costs. There's expensive fleets. There's a lot of expensive retail space. How can we pass along that savings to our customer, and how can we also be more profitable and put that back into growth and really capture market share from these mom and pops? I like to talk about HomeJoy a little bit. We get a number of questions on that. They raised $60 million, sort of fills it out fairly quickly. Silicon Valley company. How are we different? We're just in every single way fundamentally different. Gross margins, they're much lower. Our AOV is much higher. They really got most of their customers from Groupon, so only fit from month 1 to month 2, only 15% came back. Again, we're not out there looking for unhealthy top line growth channels. We grew BuildASign. This year we'll probably do $100 million in revenue, very profitable. We know search engine marketing. We're acquiring customers profitably, and we're growing very sustainably, and that's been a big focus of ours. Again, very different from some other folks in the space, but it's great. We love seeing that a lot of people are talking about and trying to work on the home services industry. It just validates how completely broken the space is and how frustrated consumers are with that. So this year, what do we want to do this year? So we're in Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. Dallas is our newest market, so we want to push much harder in Dallas, get into our fifth market, really, which we consider the surrounding areas of Dallas, and offer new services. So right now it's cleaning, maid service, and we want to be, by the end of the year, have a total of 5 services and expand our technology and enterprise offerings. So really get deep in the home for the rest of this year in Central Texas, be in 5 markets before we leap into our first non-Texas market. So to date, previous to this current round that we're raising, we raised a $1.3 billion angel round, which has fueled our growth today from a number of great investors here in town. And we definitely we don't need to raise money at this time, but we just really feel like there's such an awesome opportunity here to really make managing the home easy and put that home on autopilot. So thanks. I really appreciate your time. One thing I wanted to mention is if anyone wants to try out Broomly, we have, use the code, go to broomly.com, use the code CityHall for half off. We'd love to hear your feedback. My email is matt@broomly. Love to hear your feedback on the service as we continue to expand. So appreciate it. Any question?
So you don't need any money. How much money did you want to raise when you don't need it?
Yeah, so we want to raise $1 million right now, and the reason for that is just to fuel growth. So we could certainly just slow grow this, but part of the reason we want to raise money is if we want to get into essentially 3 new services and a couple additional markets, there's some upfront capital needed. So we're not first purchase profitable when we acquire a customer. So it takes a number of months for that customer to become profitable. So there's a little bit of, there's some capital investment there to continue growing at our current rate. And then just operations. As we spin up new markets, we send a scout team out there and we have a whole playbook for launching a new market, and depending on the size and obviously San Antonio is going to be very, very different from something like Houston, which we treat almost as 4 or 5 individual markets in terms of kind of how we set that up operationally. So that's really the reason we want to raise that now.
High-level summary of use of funds.
Yeah, so probably about I would say 20% is going to be technology, and then the other 2 is going to be split evenly between marketing and operations. And technology, really our big focus on technology has been on the operations side. So just like Bill was saying, how do we, in this context, how do we move around a very, very large workforce, all around our regions, making sure routing is really, really tight. How do we maintain quality? Having a number of pieces of technology to do that. So that's kind of the breakdown.
What's the typical time to customer break even? And 35% is obviously well above what Uber, Lyft, some of your other sharing type economies are getting.
Mm-hmm.
Homejoy that you put up. How long do you think you can maintain that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Really, it's a little bit different in our paradigm because we do partner with companies, especially on the lawn side, but really, most of our service providers are individuals. So say on the cleaning side, for example, they had been working for a Mary Maids or Molly Maids as an individual provider, and we can say, and they're getting minimum wage, and we can say, hey, come work for us, be your own boss. And you're going to make $13 to $18 an hour. So they're making more, even with our larger cut. They're making more. We're really cutting out that like franchisee owner, that has a lot of the expensive overhead, the fleet of cars, that sort of thing. So we're recruiting those individuals for the most part. On the lawn side, we do work with Easter Seals of Central Texas. They do the landscaping for all, the public landscaping for the state of Texas. They had all this excess capacity. So they could only, fill their crews up basically half time. Like we need to put these guys to work. And so we partner with them to just take care of all the marketing, admin, and just give them jobs. So their crews are working 40 hours a week. So it's kind of 2 scenarios. So one is all this excess capacity where they want to sell at a discount. We just need to be working. We have all these crews. The math just fundamentally doesn't work when we're only doing 20 hours of lawn. And then the other thing is just recruiting individuals to essentially be their own bosses and have that flexibility too. A lot of our service providers, especially on the cleaning side, they're moms. They have kids. They want that flexibility. If their kid gets sick, they want to be able to take care of that, not have to show up at a certain time if it's a couple days out. That's a lot of the flexibility we provide. We do Net Promoter Score both on the customer side, the household side, as well as the service provider side. And one of the number 1 reasons, it's like number 1 or number 2 based on the last survey on the service provider side, is just that flexibility of working with us, being able to say, hey, man, it's Monday, Friday, I have a PTA meeting. I really need to go to that. Awesome. And that's where it's a little, it's been more challenging to build out that technology, but that's what we've done to be able to reroute folks to various jobs and provide that flexibility.
Have you discovered yet the customer resistance to the idea of somebody different doing it, providing even service over time?
Yeah, no, certainly, and most of our customers do, want the same individual. However, if something does come up and customer A has a party coming up on Friday, and their normal cleaning professional gets sick or whatever, they absolutely love that we have floaters ready to go. So 10% of our workforce are actually what we call field managers. So they help in the quality assurance. They do random quality checks. As somebody new comes onto our network, they have to do 2 test jobs to really make sure that they're up to par, and they go ahead and rate those. But they also act as floaters. So just like FedEx has empty 747s flying around, we can plop those people in. And our customers find a lot of value in those instances where they have an event coming up. But there's definitely and then the other piece that is worth mentioning is as we collect this smart home profile, this data about your home, how do you like things? What is your cleaning preference? every single one of our service providers can pull out the app and say, when they go into a home, all right, first, how do I get into the home? Second, what are your preferences? For me, I'm extremely, I don't want people touching my office. I'll do that myself. I've got things, organized in my own sort of quirky way, but other people might be different. But I want, I want to make sure that there's, that I have those. So we kind of think about that as like a mass personalization, if you will. So they go through their online checklist and make sure that they're kind of completing things per your specification. So that's kind of how we manage that.
Cool. That's our 5 minutes.
All right.
Thank you much.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Next up is Coretivity.
All right, good morning. My name is Jason Burns. I'm the CEO of Coretivity. Coretivity is a next generation CRM specifically built for recruiting firms. We're reimagining how technology can power and inform all aspects of recruiting. Now, our addressable market segments are broken into 3 broad areas. There's outsourced recruiting firms, which is where we're focused today. There's contract and outsourced providers, and then the large corporate market, where 6 million companies are looking to hire 55 million employees by 2020. Now, 90% of these companies are already working with the outsourced recruiting providers to help them with these hiring needs. Now, a lot of people think we might be crazy, but we're purposely focused on the smallest of these markets, the outsourced recruiting firms. We believe it's a very underserved market. Some of the information that we have and things that we've discovered about this market makes us very excited about owning this market as we continue to grow and look at the corporate market over time. Just a little bit of history. In 2011, some market dynamics changed over time that really allows us to believe that this is a perfect blue ocean opportunity for us. Our largest competitor, Bullhorn, was bought in 2013 by a private equity firm, Vista Partners here in Austin, just down the road. And they're still 3 years later struggling to integrate 2 other companies in that roll-up, while many other market solutions have had very limited investment in their own technology solutions, which has left our target customers really disenfranchised and really starving for a new market entrant, which is something that we've done. Now, our vision here is to modernize and bring recruiting firms into the 21st century. A lot of our customers are in antiquated technologies, FileMaker Pro, databases from the 1990s that have been designed 20 years ago. But not just through our technology, but enabling their business to really transform and adapt to new business models that are emerging in this particular market. Those are on-demand and subscription-based services, particularly to their corporate clients. We're very excited, as a few of our 14 customers have already asked us to resell our product underneath their brand to their corporate clients. So I think this is a great opportunity for Coretivity over the longer haul to have be the center of that platform for the collaborative business models of the future. Now, if we talk a little bit about a recruiting firm, it's really not easy. They have complicated relationships that they're working through, candidates, hiring managers, their own in-staff recruiters. Their status quo solutions are not integrated, they don't talk to each other, and they all end up using pencil, paper, whiteboards, which leads to really zero visibility of the leadership and management teams into their business, which then in turn leads to a very proactive response with their customers versus reactive. So they're being very reactive, they're not giving them good data, and it leads to service problems for them. Now, at the end of the day, because they're on antiquated technology, they're still selling the same weak value proposition of their proprietary database, which is mostly irrelevant in the LinkedIn world, with their people and their processes. And it's the same thing for the last 10, 15 years. So what's the solution? That's what Coretivity is here for. We're providing a seamless, collaborative user experiences where our customers are going to market with their people, their processes, and their private label technology, which is Coretivity. We're saving our customers up to 55% on per employee monthly spend by incorporating VoIP technologies, text messaging plans, and consolidating competing products into a single $199 per user per month solution. Providing robust data and analytics they're able to use to bring accountability to their process, whether it be their clients that they need to potentially fire, their recruiters, and the candidates that they're working with. And one of our customers realized a 47% increase in productivity year over year for their 5-person recruiting team. We gave them back 4,000 man hours in 2015, which equated to about $100,000 savings in soft costs. Look at the competitive landscape. We won't go through this in any great detail. We don't have a lot of time. But our largest competitor is Bullhorn, and a direct competitor. Again, they're owned by a private equity firm here in Austin. We have quite a few others. PC Recruiter is one of them. They live up to their name. And a few others that, again, they're really antiquated, haven't been investing in their core user base or their technology in about a decade. We also run up against Outlook, Excel, whiteboards, even in some cases just notepads, pencil, paper, and phone. So where we're winning with our competition is, again, those seamless collaborative user experiences, again, with our private label technology, so they're going to market with their branding and be able to collaborate seamlessly with their customers. Everyone on our team has over 15 years of experience. Myself, I've brought 17 software products to market with 11 different companies, both with early stage companies and Fortune 500 companies. We'll talk about Ben here in a little bit. He just recently joined this week from one of our competitors. Now, our approach to the market is also very different. We don't plan to hire a bunch of inside 20-year-old salespeople, boiler room, and just have them dime for dollars. That's not how this market wants to be sold to. We've engaged in a thoughtful and deliberate thought leadership campaign. We're working with national, state, and regional associations, sponsoring events and creating an advocacy, a group of advocates for Coretivity. And it's interesting, what we've learned about recruiters is they have a pack mentality, a wolf pack mentality, where many of them will make critical business decisions like on which CRM or what software tools they use based on influencers or to lead wolves. So we're focused on converting those lead wolves not only to customers, but also to advocates and creating this network of advocates that are out there on our behalf, speaking and creating brand awareness. Since implementing this campaign in Q4 of 2015, we're starting to see it pay dividends. We've added 9 customers since the beginning of this year over the last 4 months. You see that long period of time where we didn't add any customers. It was very purposeful. We were trying to build the correct product with our early stage customers that were in a lot of pain. They've been paying since day one. And then we started adding, John came in, I started full-time last fall as well. We took on our first angel investor in September of last year. We bootstrapped the company up until that time. And we're very fortunate to have both some industry investors as well as people that don't have direct industry experience. Now, to summarize just from attraction, we have 14 paying customers with a real product in market today. We have over 150 prospects in our sales process. Over 562,000 users have experienced Coretivity on virtually every country on the planet except for Greenland and a couple of countries in Africa. This is, again, over the last 2 years with our 14 customers. We've logged over 3.8 million minutes of interactivity. This is candidates or hiring managers coming in to evaluate candidates, uploading resumes, providing data around assessments and preferences. All that data in aggregate we're collecting and processing. And then again, back to Ben, he started this week. He's 14 years experience at our largest competitor, Bullhorn. He was employee number 5 on the sales side. He helped them grow their sales and marketing channel to where it was up to 2 years ago. Where he started at CareerBuilder selling enterprise solutions to Fortune 500 companies on the B2B side. So great mix of experience both on where we're focused today as well as where we're going to be moving towards in the future. Our focus today, what we're doing with the angel money that we have raised, is we're focused on a reproducible, scalable sales process that's predictable, where we put $1 in, we know what comes out of the end of it, we know how long that takes, all the metrics around that. Over the next 12 months, we'll be scaling to 125 customers, or about $1 million ARR in revenue. And we don't have a time machine, but we do believe most likely exit for us is acquired by competition or a strategic partner, so even just like LinkedIn, where 64% of their revenue currently comes from talent management solutions, which is really how they're monetizing on the backs of recruiters. They have a lot of gaps in their roadmap that we could fit very nicely. And the other competitors in the market are not focused on this market because it's very complex. There's a lot more competition in the corporate market, and they're not solving the true needs of how recruiting is going to be moving forward with this market. And along the way, we're building a profitable business that'll also attract other suitors from a financial perspective. Questions? Thanks.
Do I understand, well, I'm going to ask this as a negative, I intend it as a positive. Does it mean that your platform has everything that a recruiting firm needs? Are you a total solution for them for $199 per user per month?
That's correct. And the key places that we're finding traction with those customers is RingCentral is a good example. They're spending $30 to $40 per recruiter per month on a VoIP line, when most of the times it's just forwarded to a cell phone. We've integrated that completely into our product, and they are literally dropping that expense. We're able to reduce their expenses on the LinkedIn front. They're not spending $1,000 per user per month for LinkedIn Premium to do their sourcing. They can do a lot of that directly out of our product now. CRM is another. That's partly why it's more complex in this market that we've chosen versus a corporate market. Recruiting firms have customers that they're working with. They have their own sales process that we're working with. We've incorporated that all into one bundled, seamless solution.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what the switchover process looks like if a recruiting firm decides to move to your solution from another platform?
Yeah, and that's partly part of the luck of what we found in the timing to market. There's a lot of industry consolidation that occurred by our predecessors, Bullhorn, MaxHire, and there's a lot of them that took all these recruiting firms off of their ACT databases and FileMaker Pro databases. So now we're moving people from known data sets from our competition. Half of our customers came from our competition. So we're really good at moving from Bullhorn, Big Biller. We've got a few others that we're working on. So it's a pretty standardized process now. Whereas 10 years ago, the biggest problem was the resources you'd have to deploy just to move one customer. Does that answer your question?
And the process from their perspective, in terms of pain level, is it relative?
There's always some pain with that, right? So we're very upfront with that with all of our customers. We work with them on an individual basis. We just had one that was on a competing product for almost 15 years. They decided pretty much to start over because they didn't trust their database. And we did some things to work special with them to allow them to bring some of that data over seamlessly. But it's something that we work very closely with our customers on.
So is that a limiting factor for you all, the transition, the ability to transition customers, or the speed at which you do that?
Sure, that's partly what the use of funds are for, is to, right now I'm looking at hiring potentially a couple of interns to help us out of UT to help us with that process, because it's pretty much looking at data and mapping it. Our technology is such where we've got a pretty pluggable solution. I have a lot of experience migrating big data sets from early on in my career and throughout. So certainly we do need some resources for that.
So the small recruiting firms, are they primarily targeting like higher level candidates, like C-suite candidates, or, I mean, what are they recruiting for primarily? Why would you hire one of those companies instead of one of the other bigger recruiting firms?
A lot of it's relationship based, right? And that's why 95% of the 22,000 firms in the US are really fragmented, geography dispersed. It's because it's the relationships that they have with those companies. So like our customers are working with HP, they're working with NSS Labs here in town, they're working with Xerox, they're working with national medical urgent care facilities. Vision Source as a franchise owner is one of our customers. And they kind of run the gamut. Some of them are executive C-suite, board of directors. We just got back from something called the Pinnacle Society. It's the Hall of Fame for recruiters, where they're typically making $1 million a year as individual contributors, but they're placing high-level salespeople typically are making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. Each placement brings them $100,000. So there's those at the top end of the market. There's also quite a few people that are working at the lower transactional. And one of our customers has actually been able to transform their business model from a contingency transactional basis, where they get paid for every placement, to an on-demand subscription basis. And a lot of that has to do with how our technology is enabling them to transform that business model. Any other questions? Great. Thanks.
Next up is Merritt's.
Hey everyone, my name is Eric Abrahams and I'm the founder and CEO of Merit. So 2.5 months ago, the CDC came out with a report saying that the obesity levels in the US have skyrocketed and are out of control. There are other reports and studies that show that kids spend more time playing games in one day than they do being active throughout an entire week. So these are serious issues that we're all facing. We all know that we need to be exercising. Some of us are already exercising, but whether we know that we need to be exercising more or we are already doing it, the fact of the matter is that exercise and working out is not fun, right? And so what is fun is playing games. And what we've realized is that what if we can make working out and exercising more enjoyable? What if we can actually use the games rather than as detractors and deterrents from getting out and going outside and being fit and being more active, and use them as motivators to be more active? What if working out could actually create a benefit within your game? So now it enhances the Candy Crush that you're playing, or the Clash of Clans, or the Kardashian game that you're currently playing. So the way that Merits works is exactly like that. So whether you work out a lot or you just take the stairs instead of the elevator at work, your physical activity is now translated into a point value. So we're pulling data from fitness trackers and from fitness apps and applying a point system to that. So the more active you are, the more intense the activity, the more points you earn. And then you use those points to buy premium and virtual currency within the games that you're already playing. So we're not creating our own games, but we're integrating this within the games that are already out there and are already popular. Putting that together, we have a pretty incredible management team. In addition to myself, and a little background on me, I have a degree in physics, but have spent my entire career in sales and marketing. Most recently, I ran a sales team at Bizarre Voice here in Austin. My co-founder and our CTO, Eric Schwartz, he is an electrical engineer. He was an implementation engineer at Bizarre Voice. He worked at the Tech Museum in San Jose, so incredibly knowledgeable in electrical and software engineering. And then Sherry Grainer Ray has been in gaming for over 25 years, so she's incredibly well connected in the gaming industry. She's worked for companies like EA, Sony Online, Origin here in Austin. She has her own studio right now. She teaches, she's on the board at Full Sail University, has been invited to the White House a couple times, so very well connected in gaming and very knowledgeable. And then Cosmo Rains has a few, he comes from the fitness industry side. He has some fitness startups already under his belt. There's one you might have heard of called Hyperware that makes sandbags and sandbells that are used in gyms throughout the country and internationally. So we really do have a fantastic mix of people on what I call the core four for what we're doing. And then from an advisory board standpoint, I won't go through everyone, but we have several people who are also staples within the game industry specifically, as well as fitness. Michael Polshik up there has run biz dev for several organizations. Peter Stone, who's on our advisory board, he's a UT professor, one of the top guys in the country in AI and machine learning, and so he's working with us to create our software to incorporate a lot of really intelligent AI technologies so that we're serving the right games to the players that would be most interested in those specific games. And doing other things to really keep them engaged in the Merits platform. From a financial projection standpoint, the team is helping us to be on track here in terms of being profitable by 2017, by the end of next year, and then really seeing accelerated growth in 2018. One thing to note is that these projections were put together, they're not by myself, but actually by a gentleman who runs monetization for one of the largest game companies in the world, based on how he would see his company and other companies spending money with us. So he has a PhD in economics, and these are true projections based on his numbers, not my numbers. How are we going to do that? So from a business model standpoint, for the users, for the people who are participating in the Merits platform, who are earning the rewards points that they're using in the games that they're playing, it's free for them. We currently have 55 beta testers. We're intentionally controlling that. We do have a large wait list. You can get on the wait list. We're actually going to open it up in the next few weeks to another round of beta testers. So you could go to merits.com and sign up to be a beta tester. The developers, the game developers, are the ones who are paying us. And we'll talk about exactly why they're doing that. But they're paying us what's called a cost per install. So they pay us $2.50 for every installation. It's per game. And then the other model is an affiliate model, which is a 30% fee. We also are working with other partners. So we started this with gaming because it's low-hanging fruit, but we're already talking to gyms as far as being a reward mechanism for them, because acquisition and retention is a big deal within the fitness communities. Restaurants want to work with us, and others as well. So we're really broadening beyond gaming, but we're starting with the gaming first. And then of course we'll have advertising on our site. We'll have premium placement opportunities on the site as well. We'll sell products. So fitness trackers, for example, we'll sell through the website. And then we're also starting to get into some corporate wellness programs, because that's obviously a big deal for on the enterprise level. One thing that's important to note is that the numbers that I shared, the projection model, is solely based on that second bullet, the game developer fees. That doesn't even take into account any of those other those four sources of revenue below that bullet there. So a lot of opportunity. Why game developers are working with us? These are the four key concerns that they have. So number one is acquisition. Over 500 games hit the App Store every day. So getting their games discovered is incredibly difficult. What we're doing is allowing them to put their games on a platform where they can expose their games to active and engaged users who are looking for their games, and through our proprietary technology with the AI, we're making sure again that their games are exposed to the people who are most likely to download the game. So their spend is much, much more efficient. Retention and loyalty is also a big deal. People are constantly jumping from one game to another, but if I know that my activity today, again, even if it's walking or running that I'm already doing, I'm now earning these points that I can start using when later in the day within a game that I'm playing, then I'm far more likely to play that game later in the day. Conversion is also a big deal, converting people from free to paying players, which right now is only about a 2% conversion rate. But we know that when someone spends even virtual currency within a game, they're 6 times more likely to spend again real currency within that game. So not only are we keeping people playing longer, but we're also actually getting them to ultimately spend more within that game. And then the PR that they get from partnering with a company that helps them, really helps their players to be more fit. The number 3 concern in the game industry right now is the stigma that they're creating a sedentary culture. And so by working with us, they now have this great PR that is very valuable to them. Similarly, with fitness trackers, there's a lot of benefit to them from an acquisition standpoint. How do they differentiate themselves from the others that are on the market? Again, wearables as well as apps. And also retention. Most people, after a few months, they know their data doesn't change that much. Why do I need to keep wearing my Fitbit? But if their Fitbit is providing them with a value next week that they can't get this week, they're going to continue wearing it. We are already working with Fitbit, by the way, as well as MapMyFitness, and we're expanding to others. These are you can see the current partners and the active conversations we're currently having. Some of the big names in the industry, KingsIsle, for example, just one of their games has over 16 million active players. And then we're talking to many of the big, is that a timer? Cool. So many of the biggest game companies in the industry, and remember, these game producers have many games that are out there, as well as fitness trackers and fitness brands. So as far as going to market, we have the fitness trackers and the game developers, as we talked about, that are going to be that are promoting us and are going to be promoting us. We have connections into Hop Sports, which is an amazing organization with access to millions of teenagers, as well as Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Through our other partnerships and affiliates, they'll also be promoting us as well. And then, of course, we'll do our own traditional and social media campaigns. We're working with a company in town called Kickstand and Community Nurture. And then as far as the money that we're looking to raise, for this round, we're looking for $500,000. We've already raised half of it, so we're only looking for $250,000 right now. And you can see the breakdown of how we'd be spending those funds. And then planning by the end of the year, late fall, for a larger, more substantial angel round. So that's Merits. Appreciate it. Questions?
Question on your revenue projection.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting graph, 2.8 next year, up to 11.8, I think, in 2018.
Right.
You said that was one revenue stream.
Correct.
Can you give me some idea what the mix is in that between CPI and affiliate?
That is actually all CPI.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a good question.
The affiliate, does that include a percentage, once you generate affiliate revenue?
Correct.
Does that include percentages of in-game purchases?
Yes.
Is that what that's?
Yep, that's
aimed at?
exactly right. So as we're getting people on their games and they're spending money within those games, we get a percentage of that revenue. So it's a rev share for the people that we are bringing to them.
And if you look at use of funds, talk about what isn't developed that needs to be. The software development, I'm talking specifically.
Gotcha. So one is the software in general with the AI to really take that to the next level. What we want to do is make sure that when someone comes to the platform and is looking at the games that are available to them, we'll have, you look at the App Store right now, it's almost impossible to find what you want unless you've heard of it before. So we want to be able to surface, and we're starting to do this, but we need to develop it more, is surface to the game player the games that are going to be most interesting to them. What we do already know is that if someone plays a card game, for example, they're more likely to want to play a puzzle game, or someone who plays a strategy game is more likely to play, another kind of game. And so we can make sure that as we have this data, which is also, by the way, really important to these game companies and we can be selling, but as we have this data, we can be surfacing up to those individual players the games that they are most likely to download. And then we also will do other things to keep them engaged with the platform.
And so that, you just introduced this second idea. So do they
Yeah.
come to your platform to figure out the game, or do they go to iTunes to figure it? I mean, talk about that
Uh-huh.
interaction or transaction.
So there are a couple different personas. There's one person who really just wants to play the games that they're playing and be able to use their merits points within the game. So we do have an integration. We have the API and the SDKs so that if I'm playing the game and I go to the menu to purchase the new sword that I want, I can spend real money or I can spend merits points. And we do have limits to how much they can spend to protect the games and ultimately where they're spending real currency, but they can do that within game. Others will come to the platform, will come to our site or our app to be able to transfer their points to the game value and also see what other games are out there and are available to them.
Step back a couple steps though. So how do they find you and get engaged with you? How do they know that they ever want to have a merits? I don't know if it's an account or how you
Yep. So they'll have an account. So there are a couple different ways. If it's in game, they're going to see that, and there's a call out that they can go to the merits website
because
to
the
see what's
game
available.
maker put it in there.
And the other is through the game makers are going to their communities and companies that we're talking to like Polar and Mio and even Microsoft and MapMyFitness, Under Armour. They're promoting this to their customers because they see that if their customers are on the Merits platform, then they're more likely to continue wearing their devices or engaging with it makes their apps and their products much more valuable. So we're now actually bringing to these game companies a whole new market. There's over 200 million people with wearables right now, and that's exploding. That doesn't even count the apps that are on your phone. So anyone that has a smartphone, we can even be on the Merits platform without a wearable. They're exposing Merits to their customers.
Are you far enough along to have even an impression of what your customer acquisition, game player acquisition costs are?
What the costs are? So not to know exactly what the costs are, but we know that it's pretty minimal because it's the partnerships that we're already creating with with the fitness brands that are promoting us, and the games are also going to their communities and promoting the Merits platform. So what our cost is more in nurturing certainly we need to do marketing to build the community, but our costs really are more in nurturing that community that those partners are bringing to us.
I think you may want to figure out too how effective they are at it.
Mhm.
It's always easy to say, oh, somebody else is going to sell my product, but are they?
Right.
Is that can be slow.
Yes. So we are working with them on that, and we are doing with Kickstand our own promotion as well to bring people to the platform. There's a lot that we're doing with social because games are incredibly social, and so there's a lot that we're doing there to build it. I'm not just counting on them by any means, but we are working with them to get and we're starting off very controlled to where we're going to their power users and their brand advocates first to come to the
What are you learning
platform.
out of those controlled experiments at this point?
We're learning what the behavior of the customers, what games people like, how often they're engaging, how they want to engage with the platform. Do they want to? That's where we've learned a couple of different personas. Do they want? Some people just want to go in the game and just play the game and be able to convert the merits points to the to the virtual currency within the game. Others really want that community and be exposed to the games that are out there because they can't find them on the App Store because they want to see what else they can use within, with the points. And so we're really learning the behaviors of the customers and what they want to see and how they want to engage with the app.
Is there a standardized way to integrate merits into a particular game?
Yeah, so we do have an API, yeah. Yeah, so it's easy to integrate. It's about 3 to 5 days of work.
That you do or that do they do?
We can do it or they can do it. It's up to the game developer.
3 to 5 days.
Is that revenue to you, or is that just cost of doing business?
Cost of doing business. Yep.
3 to 5 man days, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's about 15 hours of work. Usually that spans about 3 to 5 days that it takes from the day it starts to when it's in the game. And we could do it, if we do it for them, we do it much faster. It takes us about 2 days.
So you're raising 500, you got 250. What do we get for putting up this 500?
It's a convertible note, so convertible debt. So 20% discount,
Convertible into what?
convertible into equity at the next round.
Okay, so the value hasn't been established.
Correct.
yet.
So convert at the next round, 20% discount off that round, $7 million cap. You have questions?
Are you reliant to be built into the game and to be built into the fitness tracker?
No. So Fitness Tracker, we don't need to be built in at all. They all have their open APIs, and we can pull the data without them even giving us permission. Just the user, when they log in, they give the permission for us to get that data so we can apply the points. For the game developers, there are a few different ways that we can do it, but typically they want us to be integrated within their games. The other option, especially with PC games, is codes. So you can use 1,000 merit points to buy 100 crowns. You get a redemption code. You put that in your game and you're ready to go. And that is immediate. That doesn't even take a day.
Have you thought about standardizing a mile's worth of jogging for so many dollars worth of credit, so
Mhm.
that it's easier for the games to incorporate
Yes, we do have that.
mile
We
into their game?
absolutely. What we have is we have a whole. It's easy to follow, but it's a spreadsheet that shows, based on different activities, how much someone is earning, how many merits points they're earning, and it's based on what are called METs, which are basically equivalent. Everyone uses it, like the Fitbits and the Fuel Bands, they all use this. And the idea is to encourage people to be active for an hour a day. And so what we tell the game developers is however much they would typically earn of your virtual currency within an hour of gameplay, that's how much they should get for an hour's worth of what they've earned as far as merits points goes, which is about 1,000 points. So that is very standardized, so that we can just tell them, we can just say how much do you earn of crowns in an hour of gameplay, and that's worth X amount of merits points. You have questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed the break. Those presentations were great so far. This is my first time at City Hall. It's very cool, and I wanted to thank the city, and I wanted to thank Hall, and I wanted to thank Jeremy, Texas Entrepreneur Network, and Small Business Festival for having us. We're very excited and honored to be a part of this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Skee-Ball League, the NSBL. I hope everyone here knows what skee-ball is. I'm assuming you do. I hope you guys are also ready to let the good times roll. This is the miraculous game of skee-ball. I think it's the greatest game in the world. It's that game where you roll the 9 wooden balls up a lane into the point pockets, and you pray to the redemption gods that tickets come streaming out, and if you're lucky, you're going to win a pencil top eraser or a Chinese finger trap. It's typically found in, and thought to be historically, a kid's game found in arcades like Chuck E. Cheese's or Showbiz Pizza, or in boardwalks like this one, where you might go with your family on vacation once a year. But let me tell you guys what we've been doing for the last 10 years behind the scenes. We've been putting skee-ball lanes into bars, and we've been building the National Skee-Ball League. This right here is what skee-balls look like for 100 years. This is what it looks like now. That's a bar. And those are folks that are Those are folks, I got it right there. Those are folks that are, they're casually hanging out, they're meeting up, they're chatting, they're drinking, they're flirting, they're doing everything you do in a normal bar, and they're now playing skee ball. And since we brought the first ever skee ball lanes into a bar in 2005, people have been doing this across the country, from ski to shining ski, as we like to say. And so now this is not the only thing that's happening. This is casual social rolling on maybe a Tuesday night, what have you. There's a lot more to it than just that. It's also now a sport. It's competitive. It's serious. And it's so serious, in fact, that we actually have national championships. We have a national championship coming up in June, this June. And we're very proud because we're continuing to take skee ball to new heights and add even more flavor and drama this year because we're hosting the Nationals on a battleship. The best skee ball players in the country are going to descend upon Wilmington, and they're going to battle to see once and for all who rolls the best ball aboard the USS North Carolina. And the NSBL flag up there, that's not a joke, that we're actually allowed to hoist the league colors up on the ship. And this is going to be a spectacular event. And everyone here is invited, of course. So this is going down now. It's gotten to the point where it's not just casual and social rolling and competitive play in bars, but it's a sport that warrants a stage like a battleship. And like any competitive game or a sport, there's an unbelievable, quirky, and passionate, die-hard culture and community now that's wrapped around skee ball. So this is what we've been doing for the last 10 years, building. And it's very profitable and it's very successful. But here's why we have to scale the hell out of it right now. We recently acquired the exclusive perpetual and worldwide rights to use the skee ball brand and trademark for competitive play and events. And we're going to leverage that. And we're the only guys that can do this. Now we're not just the only guys that can do it, we're the only guys that actually are working on a product. We're the only guys that actually have the hardware in the works. And we're going to leverage the exclusivity of the brand license that we have. We're going to actually capitalize on this unbelievable explosion that's happening in competitive gaming right now. And we're going to leverage and capitalize on the amazing press we've gotten for the last 10 years that's validated what we've done. And even ESPN has reported on the National Skee Ball League as an actual sport. So that's who we are, that's what we do, that's what we've done, and that's what we're about. And here's why we're really excited to scale this thing out and blow this National League up. The competitive gaming world right now is really going through a boom. And there's a lot of games out there that are just crushing it. And they have less appeal than skee ball. They're not as approachable as skee ball, lovable as skee ball. They have weaker demographics than skee ball. And these are video games, and simply video games. Skee ball comes from the arcade and gaming world, but it also has that unbelievable unique physicality that lots of other bar games like pool and darts has. And so we believe skee ball is incredibly set up to have as much, if not more, success in these other competitive games I'm talking about that are going through that right now. And I want to show you a couple of those. Buck Hunter is killing it right now, literally. Virtually killing it, actually. I don't know if you're familiar with it. If not, you have a fake gun, and you're standing there, and you're very close proximity to the machine, and you're shooting fake animals. And they have 60,000 of these machines in bars right now. They have 450,000 players. And that machine is making $800 a month each per unit. And then there's Golden Tee, similar, but virtual golf. You hit that white ball, and the ball goes flying into the screen. They have 60,000 machines in the bar marketplace right now, and 200,000 players. And they're making $480 in revenue a month, and that's per machine. And this is happening today, $800 a month, $480 a month per machine. Let's take a look at what our skee ball lanes are making today. Our skee ball machines are making $1,500 a month each. And we have lanes in 6 cities right now. And we have about 1,000 rollers currently active in our National Skee Ball League network. So this is happening now, and so you can kind of get the idea how this thing can scale. So let's take a look into the not so distant future. Let's look at what this thing is going to look like 5 years from now. We're going to put out 2,000 lanes by the end of 5 years. We're going to grow the NSBL roller network to 100,000 players, and in our 5th year, we project that we'll have $39 million in annual revenue. Now this is the future. This is 5 years from now. So let's hop back and take another look at the present day and see what's going on just in one bar in one market. And this happens to be in a bar here in Austin. Got 75 rollers that started here, and it steadily grew until right now they have 400 rollers. And these are people coming in weekly, practicing their skee ball stroke, playing their competitive skee ball matches, having their skee ball birthday parties, and just hanging out on the weekends with friends. Now this is one bar in one market, and we think Austin can have tons of these bars that have NSBL lanes in them and a part of the network. And we believe that because we have a lot of inbound leads. We have bars, hundreds of bars calling us, emailing us, saying that we want your product. Now what is the product? What is the NSBL product? Well, we just got back from Green Bay, Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and we met with Baytech. Baytech is the exclusive manufacturer of skee ball lanes. The only guys that can manufacture the game, and we have the exclusive right to competitive play and events. We met with the Baytech guys. We actually brought our NSBL lane prototype to their headquarters in Pulaski, and we showed it to them. They loved it. They're going to make our NSBL lane for us. They're going to build it, and they said they're going to have a production-ready model by the end of the year. Better than that, they're already committed to putting $500,000 of their own money into the research and development of the NSBL lane, which is very cool because it shows how much they believe in what we're building, and it shows how much they believe in our ability to execute. So we're building this NSBL lane, the most modern, the greatest skee ball lane that's ever existed. What does that mean and why? Well, skee ball lanes right now have been pretty similar for a long time. And to this point, over these last 10 years, we've built what you just saw, this beautiful, unbelievable community and culture, competitive sport with classic lanes. We've refurbished them ourselves, we've maintained them ourselves. We need to bring skee ball to the modern day. We need to make it connective. We need to use the unbelievable technology that exists today, just like Golden Tee and Buck Hunter are doing. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're gonna put HD screens into skee ball lanes. It's gonna allow us to do animation, cutscenes. It's gonna allow us to have tournament videos, stats and rankings, roller profiles. You can play people remotely, or if you have a buddy who's in Chicago, you can use that through a live video camera screen and play a competitive skee ball match against them and see each other on the lanes. Then there's the app. The NSBL app that we're building is gonna make skee ball interactive. It's gonna make skee ball this strong community. It's gonna leverage social media to do that. So that's some of the technology that we're doing. Now, the lane and the app work together as a vehicle to a structured skee ball season, which is a yearly thing. Now that structured season, or skeesin, as we actually refer to it, is what actually drives revenue. What that does is it allows players to compete on a yearly basis, and it allows them to qualify for regionals or nationals or major tournaments, and that's where the cash prizes are. Real cold hard cash for playing competitive professional skee ball. It also allows players to win rewards, and it also allows players to climb leaderboards on weekly, and monthly, and yearly ways. Let's take a look at that gameplay revenue that's driven by that competitive season of skee ball. You can see up here, mainly the gameplay is the biggest part of the revenue stream for the NSBL. And that's how it should be. And by gameplay, what do I mean? I mean people playing competitive skee ball, going into a bar. Skee ball lover walks into a bar and sees this NSBL beautiful lane, and the HD screen is flashing and it's saying, start your professional skee ball career today. Well, of course, that sounds like a blast. So, thank you. What do? They download the app, they play 10 free tutorial frames that shows them all the features of the NSBL, and they're in. And then they pay for a NSBL roller package from that point on. Then there's sponsorships as well, which it's unbelievable opportunity for the demographics of the NSBL for those brands and companies. We're 50-50 men and women today, and we're proud of that balance. And sponsors love it too. And so we have these HD screens in all these lanes across the country. Advertisers are going to be able to meet people that are part of the most sought-after demographic, like millennials, that are harder and harder to reach. And that's one of the great ways that we're going to make revenue as well. So how are we going to do this? What are we looking for? We are looking for $2 million for 18 months of funding to finalize the product development and to deploy 150 lanes across the country. My name is Eric. I'm the game guy, His name is Eric. He's the tech man. Come up here. And his name is Eric, and he is he's Mr. Operations. He makes it all happen. And you can email us at our email address, eric@nsbl.com. This is the future. This is where we're headed. This is skee-ball as a national sport. We believe we don't believe, we are the only people that can do this and meet this unmet demand for one of America's most beloved games and recognizable games. We have the exclusivity and we have the ability to execute, and we really do believe that what you just saw with skee-ball the last 100 years and that boardwalk slide, we are looking at skee-ball right now the next 100 years. And if we build it, we know they're gonna roll. Thank you. And ski on the lanes.
Can you explain the monetization model? How do you guys actually get paid by whom, how much, what period of time?
Yes, so the traditionally skee-ball is a token-based game, meaning like it's like $1 per frame. A frame takes about a minute to play. For us, we're integrating the payment system into the app so that you can purchase all of your gameplay by way of utilizing the app to do that. There'll still be like a credit card. You could still use a credit card at the lane itself. But the gameplay itself would be in that manner, and we'll market test like discounted token packages and also market test subscription-based things for models that are really very frequent players and are coming every week and want to have like a regular set of tokens in their account by just a monthly subscription.
And is there a revenue share with the venue?
Yeah, traditionally in this business, there is a revenue share with the venue. So typically it's about a 40% split goes to the actual venue that it's in. There's other models where you can pay rent for it there, and there's other models where if you have a very active league there and a lot of people are playing, that the venue is making their money off the alcohol sales. Very much like Geeks Who Drink, or poker tournaments or karaoke events at a bar, that the bar is actually paying those people to bring those people in. So there's a few different model options there.
Help me to understand exactly what it is that you have exclusivity of. The manufacturer does not make those units exclusively for you. It makes them for anybody who wants to buy one. Right?
Well, in this case, this is a specific model that's called the National Skee-Ball League. So this particular lane is being built specifically for us and exclusively sold to us. But our license agreement, our exclusive and perpetual and worldwide license, is that we can use the Skee-Ball brand and trademark for promotion and events, and so there's nobody else that can use it for live competitive play besides us.
But, okay, so help me understand existing installed skee-ball units that are already in bars.
Mm-hmm.
How do you convert them to your brand and your thing? Or do you have any plans to do that, or are you just going to leave? What's the
Absolutely.
deal?
Yeah, we see that as a great market opportunity. The way that we structure our league and the way our model is, we're getting the $1,500 per month in revenue on our lanes. I think if you went to most bars that just had a regular lane there that doesn't have like our culture and our ability to engage people and have that stickiness, they're not going to be near the $1,500 per month that we are. So we are structuring a game that really is engaging and encourages people to come back on a regular basis to compete in these style events.
Can you retrofit that unit that's already there, or do you have to replace it?
For our model, we want you to replace it with this new modern lane. Skee-ball lanes have been traditionally built as a children's game that are not. There are variances in the quality, and as they age, they're not as consistent. For us, we need a much more robust unit that is going to be consistent from lane to lane. So if you're traveling for business and you go somewhere, you look up at the app, where's the closest bar with an NSBL lane, you want to know that it rolls exactly the same. So we're building a lane that's for competitive sport, not a game that was designed for Chuck E. Cheese as a children's game.
And one of the things that actually differentiates the National Skee Ball League lane versus just a lane that might be existing in a bar right now is that how it drives people to that bar. And if you're a bar owner, you know, if you have a slow night, let's say no one's coming in on Monday nights, that skee ball machine is going to sit there by itself. It's not going to attract anybody. This lane that we're building with this new technologies can actually engage people to come to the bar. The bar owner can use the actual network and scale it out and say, you know, in a mile radius, push it out to the few thousand NSBL players in the network and say, hey, half off this, or, you know, come and play half price games. And these are people in the network that already have incentives to play because it helps their national ranking. So that's one way for the bar owner to directly talk to people that already like to play skee ball on their lanes, so they can talk to them. That's huge. The second thing is, when we do have tournaments and leagues around these lanes like we do, those off nights for bars become money makers for bars. Those nights which otherwise would just, you know, have no one in there, you're having teams of skee ball, players come in, people coming into practice, and so all of a sudden those skee ball lanes that would just otherwise sit there are now actually the reason they're in that bar. So that's the reason they would change that lane out for something like this.
So the value proposition to an existing bar owner who has an existing machine is exactly what? I want you to dump this machine and put ours in. What is exactly the value proposition?
So if we're doing the revenue split, our expectation is that they're going to take a lane that was making a much smaller amount of money for them each month to bring that up to a much higher amount. If it's a venue that's geared towards social sports, then by putting in a lane that's designed for competitions and where there are leaderboards and you can challenge people, or you can host ad hoc tournaments there, then we're going to drive more customer to you on your off nights, your Sundays through Wednesdays.
And if you're a bar owner, your core business is selling alcohol or selling food. And so that's what it is right there. This skee ball lane becomes a vehicle to make not just the awesome money off the revenue split itself, which will be more than you're making on your other machine. It's also that other revenue which they care about the most, which is the bar side.
One more question, and then I'm sorry to monopolize it. The cost of what is their initial investment?
Well, so the lane itself costs about $8,500. If you're doing a revenue split with them, then they're not going to do any of the upfront purchase. Then either an operator or us would own that lane that's in their venue. So there could be a potential for a location to purchase a lane directly from us to like maybe reduce the split or something like that, so that they're taking on that capital expenditure. But so it kind of depends on how that's set up with them for that venue.
And then,
Go ahead.
the initial money creates 150 lanes. Where does that get you in terms of revenue, or in terms of profit, or in terms of sustainable?
So a lot of that does go towards the actual purchases of those lanes. I'm struggling to remember what our annual run rate is with the 150 lanes, but I mean, we're expecting around $1,500 revenue per lane.
So that's an average number, not that's a projected number.
Yeah, it's really not, for our existing like market where all our lanes are, it's not like a strict bell curve. Like it's pretty consistent across those lanes. So effectively revenue-wise, we would take the 150 lanes times the 1,500. And our operational expenses, they'll go up over time, but not anywhere near as close as the amount, at the speed that the revenue goes up with the lane count.
And so at that point, are you self-sustaining, or is there another round of funding to be created, or what?
The whole point is that when we deploy those 150 lanes, we're gonna quarterback those lanes and very carefully select and target the right cities and the right bars to make sure it takes off and is sticky. We believe that at around 300 lanes, that's sort of critical mass. But we believe that at 150 lanes, we'll be able to keep funding more lanes until we get to that 300 number. And then when we do that, then the ball's rolling.
How different are these new lanes that are being manufactured today versus the lanes you already have out there?
Yeah, so there's two kind of parts to the lane. There's the actual physicality of the lane, the materials of the lane, which when, if you're playing football or basketball or baseball or tennis or golf, the equipment that you use is extremely important. It changes drastically. And there are rules in place for what materials you can use and can't. Skee-ball historically has been a kid's game, so, they arbitrarily roll the balls up the lane. No one's really thinking about that. But when you're rolling for a lot of money and it's, you're paying a lot of money to practice, and there's a big payoff potentially, things need to be consistent and uniform. So from a material standpoint, that a lot of it's very different. And if a cup changes an eighth of an inch here from an angle standpoint, or the net tension is not the same on different lanes, then you have a terrible tragic story come out like all of the California lanes are easier than the East Coast lanes. That can't happen. So that's what we're monitoring there with the materials.
But having said that, aesthetically, we want to have it look very similar because we want to play out the nostalgic value that people, when somebody walks into a bar, they're like, skee-ball, I remember that. I used to be the world's best skee-ball player when I was 8.
We're not
So we want to maintain that nostalgic
We're not interested in
value.
changing the look and aesthetics and nostalgia. That's what we love. And we've never changed the game of skee-ball. We just build the environment around it, enhance the drama, enhance the engagement, and change the demographics.
It's time, thank you.
That's right.
Next up is Scoop.
Cool. So, how can we follow that? I mean, I don't know what to say. So I'm going to start by introducing Martin Oberle, my co-founder and also VP of Business Intelligence. And my name is Neil Pat Worden, and I'm a parent. And that's why I'm here today. How many of you, show of hands, are parents here in the audience? Okay. How many of you have kids that are in schools today? How many of you guys get inundated with emails from the school and it's hard to keep up? Fair enough. I've missed my share of she needs to wear green tomorrow reminders from the school, and so my daughter's been the only one showing up in red. So my point being is I got frustrated with all the emails and just the sheer amount of communication challenges in the space, so I decided to do something. And our product is Scoop for Schools, which is essentially a private social network just for the school and parents. Think of it almost as Facebook-esque, but at a very, very micro level. And the reason why we built it is actually quite simple. Oh, here we go. So given the sheer noise in social media today, right? So pick your platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. You're spending more time doing this and less time actually looking at relevant information that you can interact on. So we decided to take it a completely different spin and say, I'm going to build you a very, very private, engaged social network, which is mobile first. We do not do websites, 100% app-based, where the school and parents form a community. They can interact. They can correspond real time about issues surrounding their school. They can keep in touch with all the images, pictures, everything else that's being shared. And so our model is essentially becomes a more efficient way for parents in the school to communicate and reduces the dependency on email altogether, right? There's another concern in the media today, which I think a lot of parents here might experience, and that is the privacy of your kids' pictures online, especially shared on Facebook. I think everybody understands if you post a picture of your kid on Facebook, it is no longer yours. It is, anybody is free to download that image and can do whatever they need with it. And we've heard all the horror stories about different things that result from that, right? From AI recognition on pictures to your kids inheriting a digital identity that's not theirs. So how do you control that in a privatized social network, which is very, very exclusive and which allows for parents to engage and actually capture moments as you see? Am I supposed to put the mic on?
Yes.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. So our vision is obviously to sort of help, organizations such as schools, or maybe I could just talk through this, if that's okay.
That work? Everybody hear me?
Okay, great. And so our vision essentially is to connect parents and schools in sort of a very, very privatized environment, which is 100% mobile, where parents can carry the app with them wherever they go in the world and always stay connected. As I mentioned, most schools, 95% of them out there, use outdated means of communication. Email, text messaging, if you volunteer your phone number, online groups like Google or Yahoo groups, which are now defunct and going away. And there's not a single mobile solution that allows you to combine a private social network with key administrative features such as calendaring, scheduling, reporting, and that drives real-time engagement because you care to be part of that community. And so we decided to build Scoop for Schools, a single app that houses multiple private communities, each separated by passcode and furthered by data encryption, where essentially we combine the Facebook-esque uses within a social network and then the WhatsApp-like mentality of a built-in messenger that promotes super fast communication. It drives relevancy, right? You're there because your kid's in school. So by nature, you're going to be engaged. It's improved communication, less email, faster responses, whether from everything from schools closing early today to your kid's sick, to completely privatized content where the content lives within our network and cannot be leaked out or shared out unless, of course, it's screenshotted by a user, which will happen no matter what. What does the product look like? So before we launched Scoop for Schools, actually about 8 weeks ago at South by Southwest, we studied each social network in detail and focused on engagement features. Why is there a certain button everywhere and what action does it do? So what you see here today is we focus on the key features that we believe schools will need as this product evolves. We've got a newsfeed, which is the private newsfeed of the community. It allows for pictures, videos, hyperlinks, check-ins, pretty much everything you could do on Facebook besides live streaming, which is coming, right there within the newsfeed so parents can engage on real time. It's got deep search built in, so if you only want to search for content about your kid, you can search by name or keyword or hashtag. It's got private messenger. We build the same, we use the same architecture as WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, which allows you to have a one-to-one private chat with your teacher or one-to-many. We allow you to add up to 1,000 people in a group chat. And in a group chat, you can send voice notes, you can send images, you can send videos, you can send documents, you can send check-ins or locations, and those are completely private to the community. So imagine for all of us here, especially a traveling dad like myself, to be in a group chat with my wife and my kid's teacher and be connected no matter where I am in the world. This is the efficiency that we're trying to improve on. Each user within a social network for that community gets a profile, and it actually promotes further virtual interaction between parents. Now you have impromptu play dates that spring out of these. You have lessons learned, recipe sharing. It facilitates a true micro community around that school. We have Alert Hoots, which is our alerts, which essentially is very similar to Facebook alerts, right? If someone likes your comment, someone likes your post, someone comments on your comment, it continues that engagement. And then we have other features such as Bump, Polls. Polls is actually one of my favorites and probably one of the most used features in the app. It allows anybody in the community to create a poll, have it embedded directly in the newsfeed, and the community votes on it. Think of no more SurveyMonkey links ever. Built in the newsfeed, instant communication, and it tells you exactly what your community is thinking. And so for a market validation, we focus primarily on private schools today. And that's not to say that down the line we won't focus on others, but private schools for two particular reasons. One, it's the path of least resistance to the first dollar, right? They typically have less decision makers, typically often one. Two, it's got private schools typically have the funding associated already earmarked where they can quickly jump on our platform and start to use it, as opposed to public schools that have to go through a review or planning for next year for budget. But that being said, we also focus on the lower end of private schools, which is your pre-Ks, your kindergartens, your K through 4, because that's where, as a parent, I am most involved in my kid's life, or I want to be involved in my kid's life, and by definition, I'm more involved on the app. So what's our strategy? We launched 8 weeks ago, and I wanted to remind this. And so we have about 8 schools that are currently using our platform today. We have about 25 that are evaluating our product, and a majority of that has been primarily referral based. We signed my first school, which was my daughter's school, and after that, with every school that we've signed has been based on a referral basis, and we're starting to get to the point where we want to start to scale as we learn that our product solves a majority of issues that plague schools nationally. And so we want to focus on a lot of the schools, there's about 130 private schools in Austin, on getting them on our platform and then start to grow into other metros and start to capture other metros as we get to the point where we're scaling. Now the key here is obviously there is very little engineering latency required for us to scale. There is no infrastructure cost for the schools. There's no setup cost for schools. It's a plug-and-play model. The way we've designed our social networks, or our private social networks, is anytime a school decides to work with us, we can clone a brand new social network within our app in under 15 minutes. This is leading to a bigger strategy where online, we are eventually going to build a configurator, a do-it-yourself configurator for schools that can go in, order their community, and have it delivered to them in 15 minutes or less. A completely light touch model. So what's our adoption? How are we sort of getting in front of folks? What we've learned so far is a couple of ways. So obviously the associations that a lot of these Montessori teachers or owners or folks who are directors of schools, they have associations that essentially have all these annual events, conferences, etc. It's a great plugin for us to be there and actually present our position, whether it's speaking on a particular topic, whether it's exhibiting. It's the right folks to talk to where we can reach out one-to-many. Partnerships. The fastest way to scale is to find a large education partner. In this case, it will be VolunteerSpot, which is based here in Austin, Texas. We're in deep conversations with them on how we can integrate with them and bring their technology to our mobile platform. VolunteerSpot has 8.5 million active parents on this software today. And they do an excellent job at coordinating volunteers for activity, but they lack the communication means per activity. Volunteering by nature is a second default for parents of schools. How do we bring their platform into a mobile-first app, our social network via an API integration, which allows the school and parents to essentially run volunteer coordination capabilities completely using our software and integrating well with VolunteerSpot, which in return gives us access to their database of parents that are going to be vocal about exactly the reasons I gave you guys first. I mentioned associations as well. The events tie in well with associations. So on the event side, you have conferences that we need to attend. On the association side, there's potential for us to work with associations and helping them basically build engaging networks. And then we obviously have the referral business. Our sales prospect funnel, it's pretty simple. We've got a marketing automation engine built in where we drop our leads and we start to sort of curate them, get to a demo, get to a decision, and then close a deal. Typically, it's about 5 weeks from concept to creation of a new customer. Competition, we've got a few folks here that focus heavily on the administrative side. It is worth noting that Brightwheel, just 3 weeks ago, raised $900,000 on Shark Tank from Mark Cuban at a $10 million valuation. Brightwheel is an administrative CRM for schools that's now starting to explore social. So it's worth noting that there is a concept here about engagement. What's our competitive advantage? It's a private community. We're going to be the first, we're going to be the second in market after WhatsApp to roll out end-to-end encryption in a couple of weeks. Completely private, completely protected on data. There's no friend to follow in our communities. Once you join the community and you're allowed in, you have access to everything that's being shared. Real-time notifications, we've got marketplace, and then reduced lead time, which as mentioned, 15 minutes or less for a new social network to be created. Some of our clients here, so as I mentioned, local here in Austin, and we continue to grow as we source more referrals and continue to hone our product with parents. An example of some of our prospects on the right, which have been considering it, they come from all over. Again, based primarily on referrals, self-marketing. We really want to scale that piece where we can get to more decision makers and more awareness. I'll turn it over to Martin to walk through some of the projections and we'll end.
Okay, I think we have just 1 minute or so, so I will try to speed it up. So basically, this is a projection on the 2 months that we have. So it's very early to say how this will work out, but we plan to have like a 6 months free trial period, and basically when we see here we have the new customers, so we have like 4 per month. We think we can double that in a year. So these are monthly projections, and we can see that under that condition we will get 223K. If we don't have the 6 months free trial period, we will get to around 500,000. So that's kind of the size of the, can you, to the next slide? That's kind of the size of the first year. Now, if you do a 5-year projection, we might get to 57 million revenue accumulated over that time period. So, and we think we can reach around 4,700 schools with around 2 million users. That's kind of a longer term perspective. The funding needs, the requirement needs are this year. So in the short term, we need 100K, so that's the kind of second and third and fourth column there. And the purpose of the funding basically is, the offering is the following. We're looking for 500K for 10% of the company through convertible notes. The convertible notes have an interest of 5% and a conversion rate of 80% or an equivalent of 20% discount. On the last slide, said that it doesn't show the split. The split. But basically, that funding is mostly used for the development of the app, 35%, and most of it, marketing and sales, we have to promote the app and get the scale. So that's basically on our end. I think we have one final slide. That's the team. So that's Neil, myself. We have Kostub that is the engineering head. He is out in San Francisco, has a master's degree from Stanford. And then we have Byron and Austin. Byron has a MBA. And Charles is in sales. So that's basically the team.
Yeah, and I'll end this by saying ours is an emotional product, right? Your children at a very young age, you want to be involved in every moment that they create every day. And oftentimes you're going to get those moments that you can't really see or capture because you don't want them to be on social media, you don't want them to be sent by text message or email. And so for us, that is the crux of our engagement. There's a reason why we achieve 80% engagement every day in all our schools. Every day, 80% of the parents are dialing in multiple times a day to check what's going on, to comment, to like, to discuss about whatever it is that's concerning their school. We achieve 95% adoption of the app in every school that we're in. And it's because it solves a fundamental issue of communication, but it also solves the issue of being part of your child's life at a very young age. The revenue projections you see here are subscription revenue that are monthly based. We charge the school based on the average size of kids that they have, a very simple model. But that's not to say what my vision is. My vision down the line is to build this social network as a hub, to have API integrations where interesting complementary technologies can be integrated in. Volunteer Spark, for example. But there could be a bigger play down the line where it's a big education partner like Pearson or other folks that could make sense here. And that's what we want to achieve is sort of this exclusivity of building something very relevant. Thank you.
Big space to tackle, big vision, brand's important obviously in your space. How do you think about building your brand with the kind of capital plan that you've laid out? What does that look like?
I think the $500,000 that we want to raise right now, we want to perfect the product and we want to scale. And I think the two most important things that we are very critical about is brand retention and customer loyalty. If parents use this over and over again, parents are going to tell other parents. right? If schools use this over and over again about how we simplify their lives, cut their email traffic by 80% out to parents, they're going to recommend us to other schools. And I think by default, parents are resistive to change. This is how you protect your position. There doesn't exist something like this in the market today, so for us, it's very easy to secure a meeting with the director of a school, sell her or him on the product, and then get the product ready and ready to go. But as new other competitors pop up down the line, or copycats or what have you, if we're already doing what we're doing and doing it really well and improving on our product, you protect your position and also ensure that change doesn't need to happen in the school architecture. And I think the last reason I would say is just the cost of implementation. There is no setup fees for school. There is no actual architecture that needs to go on school level. It's a simple plug and play model, which is then essentially an app downloaded on your phone and you're ready to go.
And you mentioned the adoption. Do you have, it's too early to know usage statistics and time of engagement?
So I think within the 8 schools we're in, so we average about 80% usage every day, generally between 2 to 5 minutes a session.
You're currently setting at $5 per user per month, right? How do you see that holding up? I get that in the preschool and private school market.
Sure.
I don't see that scaling to the public school market at all.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be interesting in the public school side. I think you're going to have to work within a fixed budget space and figure out what that cost would be. You're right. I don't think the per user model might work well, which is why we haven't really tackled the public space yet. I think we want to take our time perfecting in the model that we know and the space that we know, grow, scale it, grab a share position, use that to leverage on the learnings to establish a better pricing model that could work on the public side.
Answer 5. Next up is Truth Aesthetics. Be our final presenter, and we'll do some voting afterwards.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Just going to take a second to get set up. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Sweeney. I'm the founder and CEO of Truth Aesthetics, which is an aesthetics and skincare company based right here in Austin. Truth Aesthetics is doing for skincare what Whole Foods did for the food industry. Why are we doing this? Women want beautiful, healthy skin, and they don't want to compromise. They've had to choose up to this point either to look to clinical skincare brands, the ones that you typically find in the dermatologist's office, such as Obagi or SkinMedica, SkinCeuticals, brands that use typically irritating ingredients that are extremely expensive and often are using toxic or harmful ingredients. Or they go for natural skincare brands, whether they're in mass retail or prestige, such as Juice Beauty, Tata Harper, or Jason's Naturals. These are much less expensive, much less harmful typically, but they also don't tend to actually deliver results to the skin. So that's why we launched Trufora. Trufora is the first effective and ethical skincare brand. Trufora is clinically proven, health conscious, socially conscious, and earth conscious. We have an extremely stringent ingredient selection process that ensures all of our ingredients used are pure, effective, and safe. All of our products are vegan certified as well as Leaping Bunny cruelty-free certified. Our packaging is 100% recyclable and selected to reduce the plastic base in each of the packages. And we're available direct, which reduces the price point to our customer. The products really work, and this is what makes the difference. Dr. Frank Cook Bolden, who's our dermatologist, conducted a 32-patient study in her research facility in New York to prove that Trufora is effective in reducing the visible signs of photoaging over 12 weeks. We had 32 clinical study participants aged between 25 and 64, all women, and one key highlight is that 83% of the study participants saw overall improvement in their photoaging after only 4 weeks using Trufora. This image is just one unretouched clinical picture example, which you can see a dramatic reduction in the redness. And one thing that Dr. Cook-Bolden noted that she had never seen before in topical skincare alone was the overall reduction in laxity in the skin. It was measured for all of the study participants, 63% reduction in only 4 weeks. We have a great market opportunity with Trufora. The overall US e-commerce skincare market was at $1.6 billion in 2014. The serviceable market are what are called online enthusiasts. These are people who are actively looking for new brands and are willing to trial them online. We are initially going after a subset of that serviceable market who are already actively subscribing to a monthly replenishment service for their skincare. We launched last summer, online only, with purely organic social media and PR efforts, and to date we've done $35,000 in revenue, $20,000 just in Q1 of 2016. Our customer acquisition cost is $38.39, average order value being $110, and a lifetime value of $160. These are blended numbers. I do have separate numbers for those who order once and those who reorder. 21% of our customers right now reorder, and they order at least 3 times before dropping off. And we have an extremely low return rate of 1%, which speaks volumes to how good the products are. We also are building really great intellectual property at Truth Aesthetics. We had our first patent issued just in the last week. The patent is for a broad spectrum sunscreen that allows the skin to be supplied with vitamin D without exposure to UV, which is a really big breakthrough in skin science and in skin health. And it's perfect timing because May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. With the issuance of this patent, we have a press release that will be coming out this coming week, and we're very open to licensing opportunities so that we can make this technology available to many more people than we can reach ourselves just at Truth Aesthetics. We have 2 additional patents pending on additional formulations. We have 3 trademarks issued and registered internationally, 15 total formulations, 7 of which are currently in market, 8 more in development, and our 32-patient clinical study. We're also getting really great traction in our organic press and social media. We have not paid for any press. We have not done any formal paid traditional advertising. We've been delivered over 30 million PR impressions, including being featured as the Fantastic Find on The Talk, which is a national TV show. We have over 32,000 Facebook fans currently, which has grown from 1,000 fans just this past October. And we have some great upcoming features. I've been invited by the Austin Monthly magazine to be featured as their face of ethical skincare in their upcoming September issue. And Trufora was invited to exhibit at the Indie Beauty Expo, which is taking place in New York this August, which we're very excited about. And celebrities are genuinely now getting excited about our products. Alyssa Milano is just one example of a celebrity who actually uses Trufora. She's not paid by us, and she posted to Instagram that she loves the product, and to date we've had well over 6,000 likes of that one image. And that resonates with consumers because she's actually a great advocate for women, and she's an ambassador for UNICEF as well. So she's a really great role model for us and for our consumers. We have a strong competitive advantage, not only with the company, but with the brand as well. The founding team are industry experts. None of us woke up yesterday and just thought it would be fun to launch a skincare line. We have all the key players in place with significant experience in the industry. We bootstrap the company. My past experience prior to Truth Aesthetics is that The companies I work for would spend upwards of $30 million launching a brand like Trufora. We were in market with a total spend of $500,000. This puts us at a huge advantage to reach profitability and to make it very attractive for investors. We are digital marketing and online driven, so we can react quickly, we can test, we can do a lot of direct response, and we are building good IP. The brand itself has a very unique position, being clinical but friendly. It's delivering on the promise of what the products do. They really work. Women who use them love the products. It has universal appeal. This isn't a niche product. We wouldn't be getting picked up by mainstream media if it wasn't. And our timing is perfect because the market's really been waiting for a brand like this. We have a very clear growth strategy set out. We're not going to try and do everything at once. The main focus right now is on the subscription business for Trufora. This is our long-term strategy. We are also actively in discussion to get Trufora either on HSN or QVC. I've been connected directly with Mindy Grossman, who's the CEO of HSN, and I'm working with her daughter. And that's what I'm very much pushing for because they're a better brand fit for us. They support new and young brands much more than QVC would. And it would be a phenomenal way for us to increase our brand awareness without having to pay for advertising. And then we have a number of other avenues that, as time goes on and the timing's right, we intend to grow and build upon. Our business model is very much supported by the numbers. Our numbers work, our customers are profitable, and our gross margins are good, both at the retail level and at the wholesale level. Right now, the only wholesaler, I say that in quote-unquote terms, is our dermatologist. She does carry the products in her office in New York. Because she's our dermatologist, that's not a strategy we're going after. But looking at building the business out in the future with partners, we can perform at a wholesale level. We need right now to invest further in the business, and that's really why I'm here. We're looking for a $1 million raise, and the net of it is that money is going to be used to infuse our organic growth and really boost that. And I do need to hire hopefully 1 or 2 employees to join the Trufora team and help support the daily business. When you invest in Trufora and in Truth Aesthetics, the goal very much is to build to at least $100 million valuation and then sell. I've given Unilever as an example. They're very active in the M&A space with brands like Truth Aesthetics and Trufora, and I'm already in conversation with them, with the Unilever Ventures arm. We're too small for them right now, but they're very excited in what we're doing, and we're keeping the dialogue open. And know that in an investment in Truth Aesthetics, this is the founding team that you're getting. We've got all the key bases covered. We're really passionate about what we do, and we're good people, and we're really firmly committed to making this a huge success. So thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Questions?
Talk to us about supply chain. Do you have any problems with any of the raw materials? Where can you get them? What's your manufacturing capacity constraints, fulfillment constraints?
So right now we manufacture at an FDA-regulated facility in Southern California. So everything is manufactured within the United States, and they are able to manufacture all of our formulations. So even our formulations in development. We are actually one of their smallest customers. They have very big capacity to do very large manufacturing runs. They took us on board based on my personal work background and the brands I came from, and having worked numerous times with our formulator, Fred Coury. So they said, we're going to give you a shot. And I was really excited about that because they have the ability to support growth. All of our packaging right now comes from one supplier, HCT, which is one of the biggest suppliers. So there's also not an issue there for the individual components. We have a 16-week lead time for the most difficult raw ingredients to source. And 16 weeks is pretty typical in the cosmetic and skincare industry, so it's something we have to plan for. We don't have any single source ingredients. We're able to have at least 2 suppliers for any of our ingredients. We're very careful, though, with the sourcing. It's one of the reasons we manufacture in the US, because we are both Leaping Bunny and vegan certified. They audit everything. So that means right down to our raw ingredient level, everything is checked to make sure there's nothing that's animal derived and nothing that has been animal tested. In respect to fulfillment, we're bootstrapped, so we're currently doing it ourselves. Obviously, the direct aspect to customers for fulfillment, we will have to hire to maintain once capacity increases. I don't have a concern about that because I have experience with it at past companies that I worked with, and I know who to work with to get those right people in place. And from the wholesale side, it makes it much simpler. So for example, if we get a PO from HSN, they know our lead times, they'll give us lead times until when they need to have the items in-house, and we follow their protocol and it gets delivered. They put us on air, the show handles, whatever gets returned comes back to us, we get paid, and it's not direct fulfillment, so it's a lot simpler. Margins are different, but it's a different avenue of the business.
Shelf life a concern?
No, so right now we have a 24 months shelf life, 12 months from opening. The only product that's actually labeled as far as best by date, so to speak, is our Titanium Day Cream SPF 30, which is our patented product. But again, it has a 2-year shelf life.
How are you acquiring customers? Can you talk a little bit more about your acquisition strategy?
Absolutely. So right now it's been all organic. We launched basically through social media and through PR efforts. So people now are finding us through, the majority actually of our visitors are coming to the site are coming through search, organic search. We aren't doing any traditional SEM right now because we're not big enough yet and it's such a competitive market. I don't want to be spending the money. We do a small level of paid ads on Facebook. We are present on Instagram and Twitter, but over 50% of our website visitors are actually now coming to us organically. And part of that is because we're getting a lot of backlinks. Bloggers, beauty reviewers are reviewing Trufora, posting their experiences, and so it's really helping our SEO efforts.
Related to that, could you go back over your churn numbers? You said 21% of the customers who ordered once ordered 3 times. Is that what it was?
Yes. So we have of our unique customers, 21% of them reorder at least 3 times. So the great thing about that, and that's what we really want to focus on for the subscription business, is it obviously dramatically increases their lifetime value and our ability to spend on customer acquisition costs. So from my past experience, so prior to Truth Aesthetics, I was at Guthy-Renker and I launched Proactive Plus. We want to get those numbers eventually once we have the brand awareness and we can spend on media, mass media. We want to get those numbers up to the 80% rate of reorder. Right now, it's to be expected. We don't have sample sizes or anything to allow customers to trial the product before they purchase the full size. So they're really leaping in kind of in a way out of faith and trusting the brand to test it. So we need to get those numbers up over time.
How do these numbers compare to industry? Whatever your comparable would be.
These are really good. So the fact that we're already profitable with our customers when we're this small, I'm very happy about. One thing that does jump out to me though is that we're underinvested because our acquisition cost compared to our lifetime value, that ratio is not great. So we need to spend more money getting more customers in. But this is, for example, compared to my former life at Guthy-Renker, this is way more profitable.
That's our 5. So with that, let's all log on to Slido and let's vote for the best product, best company.
And with that, we'll close it out. So if we put this up right quick. Everybody take a second to go through and vote on both those screens. Let me know if you have any issues. Ooh.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Special thanks to Hall. Round of applause for Hall. Round of applause for the investors. Thanks for coming out. Great questions. And thank you to the presenters. It was awesome to see so many live companies, real revenue. Like, it was just great presentations all around. So round of applause to the presenters too.